A perfect 10 out of 10 vulnerability in a platform used to control satellites and embedded systems. That's what we're looking at with OpenC3 COSMOS today. It's a critical remote code execution flaw that could give an attacker full control over the very systems meant to manage hardware in space.
I'm Morgan. That's Alex. Let's break it down. Alex, when you say control satellites, that sounds like something out of a techno thriller. But OpenC3 is real-world infrastructure, right?
Exactly. OpenC3 COSMOS is used for commanding and receiving data from embedded systems. We're talking everything from small satellites to complex industrial hardware. The vulnerability, which is CVE 2025-68271, sits in their JSON RPC API. Specifically, it's a classic coding pitfall, the use of the eval function on user-controlled input.
Wait, eval? That's like the golden rule of secure coding, isn't it? Never pass untrusted strings to a function that executes code. I feel like we talk about this once a month.
It really is. In this case, when a request uses certain APIs, the system tries to convert the parameter text into values. If the input looks like an array, it triggers a function called convertToValue, which then runs eval on that text. If you're an attacker, you just format your malicious command as an array-like string, and the server executes it with the same privileges as the Cosmos application.
And since this is a command and control platform, those privileges are likely pretty high. This reminds me of the Viasat hack, or some of those satellite security talks we've seen at DEF CON. If you compromise the ground station software, you don't even need to hack the satellite directly. You just tell the ground station to send the self-destruct or change orbit command.
That's the nightmare scenario. This affects versions 5.0.0 all the way up to 6.10.1. If you're running this in a lab or, heaven forbid, a production environment connected to the web, you need to update immediately. A CVSS 10.0 doesn't happen every day, and it's because the barrier to entry for an exploit here is incredibly low.
Speaking of things that shouldn't be happening every day, I'm looking at our next one. CVE 2020-36911. Alex, that's a 2020 ID. Why are we seeing this now?
This one's been in the disclosure queue for a while. Vendors or researchers sometimes take years to coordinate before these hit the NVD database. But it's fresh intel for anyone using Covenant, which is a popular .NET command and control framework used by red teams and, unfortunately, actual threat actors.
So it's a vulnerability in a hacking tool? That's a bit of hack the hacker energy right there.
It really is. The flaw allows an attacker to forge JSON web tokens, those are the JWTs used for authentication, to gain administrative privileges. Once they're in, they can upload custom DLL payloads. It basically turns the C2 server into a target itself. If you're a security team using Covenant for testing, you could be giving an adversary a backdoor into your own infrastructure.
That's a massive risk for internal red teams. It's like leaving the keys to the tank inside the tank. We've seen similar issues with other C2 frameworks like Cobalt Strike in the past, where a vulnerability in the listener could lead to a full takeover of the operator's machine.
Exactly. And we have one more backdated one to mention. CVE 2022-50893. Don't let the 2022 date fool you. This just hit the database yesterday. It's an unauthenticated remote code execution bug in VIAVIWEB Wallpaper Admin version 1.
Wallpaper Admin? That sounds like a small-scale CMS or a plugin. But unauthenticated RCE is never small-scale for the person running it.
Right. It's a simple but deadly flaw in the image upload functionality. Specifically, the add gallery image PHP script doesn't properly check what's being uploaded. An attacker can just send a malicious PHP file instead of a JPEG, and suddenly they're running code on your web server. It's a 9.8 out of 10 on the severity scale.
It's the bread and butter of web attacks. It's almost nostalgic, if it weren't so dangerous. All right, moving away from the patch list, we've got some major news from Europe. A French telecom giant's subsidiaries just got hit with a massive fine.
Yeah, France's data regulator, the CNIL, fined them about $48 million. This stems from cybersecurity vulnerabilities that led to a significant data breach. It's a reminder that under GDPR, you're not just responsible for the breach itself, but for the lack of security that allowed it to happen in the first place.
48 million is no slap on the wrist. That's getting into the territory where it actually impacts the bottom line. It's giving me Change Healthcare vibes in terms of the regulatory pressure we're seeing. Regulators are losing patience with, "Oops, we got hacked," as an excuse when basic hygiene is missing.
And speaking of regulators taking notice, California's Attorney General is now probing Elon Musk's Grok AI. They're looking into the spread of non-consensual, sexually explicit material, basically deepfakes generated by the tool.
This was bound to happen. We've seen the reports of Grok being used to create these images because it has fewer guardrails than something like ChatGPT or Claude. Attorney General Rob Bonta opening a probe is a big deal because California is often the bellwether for how AI is going to be regulated in the US.
It's the intersection of AI safety and legal accountability. If the tool makes it too easy to create harmful content, does the liability fall on the user or the platform? We're watching that play out in real time.
While we're on the topic of big tech, Microsoft had a bit of an awkward week with a Windows DLL file. Apparently, it was triggering security alerts all over the place.
Yeah, a core Windows component was being incorrectly flagged as malicious by various security applications. Microsoft had to push an update to resolve the issue. For a SOC analyst, there's nothing worse than a known good Windows file suddenly lighting up your dashboard as a high-priority threat. It causes massive fatigue.
It's the boy who cried wolf problem. You ignore the alert because you think it's the Microsoft bug, and that's exactly when a real attacker slips in, using a similar-looking file. Also, I saw the NCSC in the UK issued new guidance on industrial operational technology. They're really worried about how we're connecting sensors and control systems to the internet.
They should be. The guidance from the National Cybersecurity Center is all about securing those connections. We're seeing more and more dumb industrial equipment being brought online for smart monitoring, but they aren't built with modern security protocols. It's a massive attack surface for critical infrastructure.
It's that convergence of IT and OT again. Every time we connect a water pump or a power grid sensor to a network, we're opening a door. Before we go, 2 quick industry notes. That investor lawsuit against CrowdStrike over the big outage? A judge just dismissed it, saying the plaintiffs couldn't prove an intent to defraud.
That's a high bar to clear in court. And on the money side, Aikido Security just raised $60 million at a $1 billion valuation. Even in a tough market, developer-focused security is still pulling in huge numbers.
$1 billion. The unicorn status is still alive in cybersecurity. Alex, final thoughts for the day?
If you're using OpenC3 COSMOS, stop what you're doing and check your version. CVE 2025-68271 is as serious as it gets. And for the red teamers, patch your Covenant servers. Don't let your own tools become the breach point.
Your daily AI-powered security briefing. If this saved you time, subscribe. We're here every morning.
Stay patched, stay paranoid.